First of all, welcome to the channel and thank you for stopping by. When time permits, please consider subscribing. I would greatly appreciate it. What a difference a week makes. We've gone from having just a few leaked photos of the new 390 Adventure R from South Dakota, but not much more information, leaving us to speculate what specific models, the names they would have, what colors, and any other information, thinking we would have to wait until EICMA in November. But now, with less than 2 weeks to go, there are no more leaks. And this is pretty great news. Unfortunately, there's also the rumor that the 390 Adventure models will not be arriving in North America until the 2026 models are ready. This is very, very disappointing as there's a large 390 Adventure following here. Many owners who have had their bikes for more than 4 years, myself included, and who have been waiting for this new version from KTM and Bajaj. Putting that disappointment aside, it appears that the 390 lineup will be available as the 390 Adventure R, the 390 Adventure X, the 390 Enduro R, and the 390 Adventure SMC, or just 390 SMC. I've seen it both ways. First, we have the 390 Adventure R. This is the model I believe that best fits the vision of what present 390 Adventure owners have been asking for, with one significant caveat that no one was expecting and certainly not asking for. Coming with a 2118 wheel combo, the R model includes all the familiar electronics like lean-sensitive ABS and traction control, as well as the TFT screen, and now they've added cruise control for the first time. Again, I've mentioned I have cruise control on my 390. It's magical, and I'm very, very excited to see it coming to the base models. The ground clearance, a sore spot for some owners of the existing bike, has been bumped up an inch, and the fully adjustable suspension has been increased to 230 millimeters of travel versus the 200 millimeters for the existing bike. So far, so good, right? More power, cruise control, larger wheels, more suspension travel, and more ground clearance. It all sounds very good. Well, there's a price to pay for all that goodness, and that price is an 885 millimeter seat height. Honestly, it doesn't sound all that bad in metric. However, this may hurt a bit more. The 390 Adventure R has a 34.84-inch seat height. Let that sink in for a moment. This is over an inch taller than the existing 390 Adventure, and this bike is already considered to have a very tall seat. A few examples for context. The 390 Adventure R has a taller seat than the Yamaha Tenere 700, the Aprilia Touareg 660, and hysterically, taller than the KTM 890 Adventure R seat. In fact, I couldn't find any motorcycles that aren't listed as dual sports or dirt bikes that had a higher seat than this bike. That was certainly not asked for. That was certainly not expected. Whew. This bike is going to prove a serious challenge for those folks like myself who are inseam challenged. Next, we have the KTM 390 Enduro R. Honestly, there was very little new information on this bike. It essentially looks to be nearly identical to the 390 Adventure R, but with different plastics and a single-piece seat instead of the two-piece seat found on the Adventure R. All the remaining features look to be unchanged. There might be something announced later, but we don't have anything leaked at this time. The next bike is the 390 Adventure X. This bike is a scaled-back version of the other bikes and some features that have been held over from the existing 390 Adventure X. It retains the 1917 wheel combo of the previous model, as well as the more limited electronics, like only an LCD screen, and the bike's not going to have lean-sensitive ABS or traction control. It also keeps the 200 millimeter suspension of the existing 390, and honestly, a much, much friendlier seat height of only 825 millimeters. The X model seat is actually over an inch shorter than the existing 390 model, which is fantastic because, as I mentioned earlier, that 390 model that we have today is a bit on the tall side. Finally, we have a bike that truly surprised me, the 390 SMC or Supermoto. I live in upstate New York, and the supermoto phase has been over for about a decade. I am aware that Kawasaki makes one in a dual sport. They still make the DRZ 400 supermoto, but I haven't seen a supermoto on the road for years. Perhaps this one will reignite the supermoto craze. The bike will sport matching 17-inch wheels, and while it will have the flat seat of the Enduro R, it will have the more limited suspension of the Adventure X at 200 millimeters. Now, what appears to be missing from this list is a replacement for the standard KTM 390 Adventure. Now, the speculation online is that the X will be the direct replacement, as it features more or less what we have in the bike today. That said, the Adventure X does not have the adjustable suspension, the lean sensitive ABS and traction control, the TFT. Essentially, it's missing a lot of the features that the existing 390 Adventure has in North America. And honestly, I can't see them releasing the X in the United States or Canada, as it simply wouldn't be competitive without those features in our markets. Now, we know a vanilla 390 Adventure with the electronics we expect, but still with a 1917 wheel set, will not be shown at EICMA. However, if the rumor is true and the North American launch is more than a year away, there's certainly time to produce, announce, and release that bike prior to the North American launch. Well, that's all we know today. I expect we're going to see more leaks as we get closer to the official unveiling in EICMA, and I know I am very, very much looking forward to hearing from folks once they've had some time to sit on the bike, touch the bike, move the bike, and honestly report everything they can about the bike. And I'm sure someone's going to do that for us. Well, if you stuck around this long, thank you. I appreciate it, and take care.